Hey, I'm Al from ReadArt, and today I'm going to paint with you the zebra. Now, the zebra, I've got the stencil from www.readart.com.au, and I've already traced the stencil onto my piece of paper. And I've done an extra thing with it. I've also put in little dash marks of green using watercolor pencil. Just some green marks where I've got to paint green because there's so many different lines in the zebra, trying to work out which one's got to be what color. I just thought I'll make it easier for myself before I start. Now I'm going to use a size 6 little round brush to start with, and I've got the paints here ready. I've got white, black, brilliant red, bright yellow, a light green, the cyan blue, and a flesh color. They call it honey. To me, I just call it flesh. They're the colors I'm going to use for this painting. I've got my wet rag, I've got my water, and I'm ready to start. Now, I was just thinking to myself, do I start with the background first, or do I start with the striping on the zebra first? Because I'm worried that if I did my background first, I'm going to keep putting my hand in it, and I'll probably want something to lean on. So I'm actually going to start this time with some green. We're going to do the green sections first, and then probably go to the background, knowing that the way I've got a good start on it. So I'm just going to paint in all the green sections. Now the reason I'm doing the green first over the blue is because I'm going to change brushes actually, because I want a smaller brush, a size 2, and I'm going to add some water to the paint so it flows a lot easier. Now the reason I'm doing the green first is because the blue will paint over the top of the green real easy, but the green won't be so strong when painting over the blue. You will see the blue coming through the green paint. Now at the moment, I'm just trying to get myself comfortable with the right density of paint to water. If it's the right size brush. Now I know I can be doing some outlining with some black in some spots maybe. Yeah, there are some spots which will have outlining. So if I do make mistakes, I can touch it up. So I'm basically just going to go through and paint all these green sections. Now I've thinned this paint right out so it fills up the space. Now you might find that the green paints that you use aren't a higher quality paint. They're not a premium paint, and you may have to give green, a light green, 2 coats. This paint's not too bad. I'm only going to do the 1 coat, I'll get away with it. I'm just smoothing it out as I go. I don't know, I don't remember why. This is a design I did a while back. I don't know why I went with greens and blues, but they sort of go well with the zebra. You can do black and white. You pick any colours you want, as long as they're too contrasting, or yellow and blue aren't exactly contrasting, but they do work well together. And when I paint, my brush strokes, I'll explain to you how I do it as I paint it. I start with the tip. I don't have a lot of paint on the brush. I'll wipe the brush off just on the side slightly so I don't have a thick blob. And I just use the tip of the brush to draw a line. And as you practice this, Like, and even from myself, you start off a bit rusty, but as you get into it, you'll find you get easier, and it'll get easier and easier. And you'll start pushing down on the brush to get that thicker edge where you need a thicker edge. And it's just controlling your tool. The brush is your tool, you're just controlling how that works for you. So I'll start with the tip, come down, push a bit harder as I get to the thicker sections. If my paint's not spreading as good as I like, I'll add a little bit of water to it. Don't add too much water. You'll know you've added too much water because you'll start seeing through the green paint. You've got to find that balance. There's a lot of striping on this. Now, if I wanted to, I could, if you really want to make it easier, paint the whole thing green. Still have you'll still see the outlines of your stencil, and then do black instead of blue. You probably do blue as well, straight over the top of the green. Of course, you don't want to do that where the apple is or its gums. You see, you'll get some spots where the paint seems a bit thicker. You just spread that out. You get some bit of water onto it, spread it out so it evenly spreads over the paper or the canvas. Now, if you're using a canvas, I generally always use water in my paints to fill the pores in the canvas. If you put a drier paint on, it won't seep into those holes, and as the paint dries, it gets darker. Acrylic paints go slightly darker and flatter as they dry, and all those pores on the canvas that you haven't got paint into will stand out. So I've started at the bottom left here, just because I knew it was an easier area to get my confidence and my paint strokes going. Generally, I would start, you try and start like when you're reading a book, you start the top left, you start painting and work your way down from the top left. That way you're not dragging your hand through the paint. So I'm not going to paint this section here because I don't want to be dragging my hand over the top of it. So I'll leave it to last. Now I've got the top. I'm going to go a bigger brush for this section. I'm just going to start by giving it a base coat. Now in the ears, we're going to do a bit of toning work just to show some highlighting and some shadows. I'm just getting the fill in first. So this is like a base coat. I'm getting everything green, and then I'll do another coat over the top of it with whites, blacks, blues, whatever I decide to add to it. So I smoothed it out. Now I'm going to get a little bit darker, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to mix some blue with some green. Yeah, that's what I'm after. So that inner part is going to be darker. We'll do a little bit of this darker as well. Now I'm just going to clean the brush off. Just use water now to blend those two together. Bring the edges together. I don't want to go all the way into the green because I'll drag blue into it. So I'm just blending those edges so they tone from the green into the blue. I'm going to do some highlighting. The highlighting, I'm just going to add white to that high edge where the sun's hitting it. And I'm going to put some white on this leading edge here. And same thing, get rid of the paint and blend the edge of that white into the green. There we have it. Now I'm going to go back to my green again and do these green lines up through the left side of the head. Now if you make mistakes with some of these lines, it doesn't matter. There's no definite lines that have to be put on the zebra with the strokes, and no one would know any different if you painted the lines in a different spot. And I'm saying that now because I've just done that. I've just made up my own lines, just a little bit. Now this part here is a leaf. It's going to be over the top. So all those edges will be tidied up when I paint that leaf over the top of it. You're already starting to see that zebra striping happening. Oh, we're going to add an extra one in here. I don't know how I got it wrong, but we're going to follow those down. Next one. Once again, I'm just line joining these up. They're a different line. They're actually a different line than the ones I've drawn on, but that doesn't matter. That's good. All right, we're going to put the they look like eyebrows. Now this would have been so much harder if I hadn't put little dashes with a green pencil to show me which ones to colour in. I would be continually having to refer to a stencil or to my paint picture. So you're better off being prepared. I'm going to leave the hair because I want it to go over the background because I'm going to do flicking like hair, so I'll come back to that. Now this crown of the top of his nose, I'm just going to paint the whole thing green to start with. Now, there's some definitely blue tinges, but it's sort of blended. So I'm just going to put some blue stripes in, clean my brush off, and soften it up with some water. So I've got the green background, some blue stripes, but then I'm going to use some green with white, mostly white. Just to give it like it's the sun's hitting that top part of his snout and it's lightening up. And then I'm going to highlight it a bit more with some more white. I'm not blending it in really, just got that blend from the paint being struck in to the other darker colours. Clean my brush, soften it with some water. So let's give it a lighter effect, a washed out effect with a bit of white. Right, next, I'm going to work down from, we'll do this here, then work our way. No, we might do the snout, the rest of the snout here. I'm going to go back to that bigger brush. And same thing, I'll give it a blue base. This part's going to be white. Now, I'm not worried about this bit too much because it's going to have a black lining across that. So there's my green base. Now the bottom part of it is going to have a blue tinge to it. So I put the blue in, wash the blue out, and then blend that blue up into the green. And now I get that blue and green out of my brush, and I'm going to do my white edges. I'm just doing this as one large section at the moment, one large section. The black outlines will finish it off when I come back with the black. I want to get some real strong whites in there. Well, a good picture will usually have everything from a pure white to a black and everything in between. Alright, so we'll do the other ear now. Once again, doing that base coat with the watery green. Flattening it all out, getting all the lumps out of that paint, make it nice and smooth. And now I'm going to put that blue shadowing into it. We're going to do that, we're going to put that where the ear folds over there. We'll do some down the bottom. Wash my brush. And just use water to do the blending. So that's the shading. Now I'll do a bit of highlighting with white on that leading edge. And I'll put some down the bottom edge. So we're just giving that ear a bit of shape, a bit of curve into it. There we go. Oh, we're going to go down, work our way down the right side. Now if you want the stencil to paint the zebra, I've got it on my website, www.redart.com.au. Also comes with the image that you can download of the painting to help you, and a link to the video tutorial which we're watching right now. There's a lot of other stencils on there. I just was thinking then, why am I having troubles doing my lines? It's because I was using the wrong tool. I was using the too big a brush to paint smaller areas. Getting really close to being done with the green. Whoops. Hopefully it's the last one. Right. That'll do for the green. I'm going to paint in his gums. So I'm going back up to the number 6 round brush. I'm just going to paint in the gums. Now when I draw my stencils, I usually use a watercolour pencil, and the good thing about watercolour pencils is as you're painting, if you can see through the pencil's coming through the paint, so if I rub hard, it'll rub that pencil away and mix it in with the paint. Whereas a lead pencil, you can paint lots of coats over its lead pencil, and a lot of times you'll still see it coming through the paint. It's good because you'll keep seeing your stencil lines to help you paint, but you've got to find that balance of do I want to see my outlines or do I want them to disappear as I paint over them? As I said before, they call the brand that I've been buying, call this Honey, this colour. I bought it because it's a close colour to flesh. Sometimes you get you can buy sandy collars which look close to flesh as well. You can always mix your own. Oh. I'll do the bottom section. And I'm still debating whether to do the background next or not, because I'm leaning my hand on this section here, so I don't want to be leaning into paint. It's always good practice to do the background first because it's the furthest part of the painting away. So you paint things over the top as you come forward, but sometimes that's an inconvenience. So the teeth are white, but they're going to have a bit of a tinge of brown in it. So I'm just letting a bit of that skin tone go into the teeth. Now, zebras don't clean their teeth, so we're going to put some brown marks around the teeth, around the outside edges of the gum where it meets the gums. Excuse me. Now to get that colour, I'm going to use the skin colour. Probably put a pinch of red and a pinch of blue. Let's try a bit of yellow in there. Generally, to get a brown colour, use the 3 primary colours. So now I've got a dark maroon, dark purple there. We'll go with that colour. It's a mauve. And I'm just going to put some, using the tip of a smaller brush, just some plaque. In the teeth. I don't want to overdo it. And that also helps with an outline, making the teeth stand out a little bit more. So I'll just put my hand on that paint then. Just tidying up as I go. The problem with paper is it absorbs the paint real quick, which dries it out. I'll get some white onto that one. Blend the edges. Just going to put some vertical white bits in the teeth. You want them to look worn. I'm just putting some white stroking into the teeth in some spots just to make it look like that wear and tear on the teeth. Alright, there's his teeth done. Yeah, we'll do let's do the orange, the apple. Gonna start with a flat brush, number 7. We're gonna paint it yellow. Like I said before, you start with the light colours first, then work on your darker colours, adding them on. Because it's nearly impossible to start with a dark colour, then bring it back to light. So my base colour is yellow, finding all those edges. So I'm basically painting a ball here, which means as I get to the edges of the ball, it's going to get darker. So I'm going to work on the edges. I'm going to start adding those reds on the edge. Go to a smaller brush. And I want to use water now to get some clean water. Contaminated brush. I've got a dirty brush. It shows the importance of having to clean your brush. That's it. I'm going to get some yellow and to help this move. And I'm going to blend that red back into the yellow so we can get an orange blend happening around the outer edge of the apple. Just going to make some orange up just to help it along with some yellow and red. And a brush. You got that feel of the apple, how it always goes down. Now, before I start on the other side, just want to get some whites into it, because the apple's shiny, so we've got some white bits reflecting off it. If you overblend this, you're just going to lose those whites and lose those yellows. I'm just going to break it up with some reds, because apples have got these random colours, that strokes that come through them. Now, I'm going to use a dry brush and just soften it with the tip of that brush. Soften up those paint strokes. Take some of that harshness out to give it a shiny feel. There we go. Now I'll do the other side. red back into the yellow. Get the paint off my brush, get some more yellow. Now if I touch this red side, I don't want to be touching in the middle of the yellow because I'm just going to be dragging red paint across. So I'm avoiding that side until when I'm ready. Like now I'll go over there and I'll just try and blend that red in a little bit more, so it's not so sharp. There we go. Get some whites. And now I'm just going to soften that up. Just with the lightest of touches with the soft brush. Oh, there's the apple. I'm still not going to do the background. There's no importance for me to do that background yet, so now I'm going to hold off and I'm going to do the blue stripes. And it's the same as the green. Add some water to it, get it to a consistency that the paint flows well, but it's still solid, still opaque. So here's my test ground in the bottom corner here. I hit a smaller brush. Just using the tip of that brush. Yeah, I do a lot of these easy paintings, work with a lot of people who are just beginner painters who like to paint something easy like this. Some people like a harder challenge, of course, but if there's an easy picture that you would like, send a comment. Say something in the comments. Like, of course, there's no guarantees, but if it's something I think, oh yeah, that's an interesting picture to paint, I'll see what I can come up with. Now, Debbie, my wife, she is working on a website with art activities for children. If you've got children, she's come up with some wonderful topics where she started putting lots of activities online for teachers in the classroom, for parents at home. So you can paint and create with craft activities. And the website for that is www.creatable.com.au. We're getting there. Large blob of paint on my brush, not a good habit. It's all these little fiddly bits. There's a bird outside. Now, I'm sort of going at a fast pace to get this done. I'm not expecting anyone else to pump it out at the same time as what I'm doing it. Which means I'm probably making more mistakes than I need to. But the thing is, it doesn't matter. Sometimes those small mistakes make an artwork a lot more interesting than if those mistakes weren't there. And most people don't see those mistakes, only you see them. And if they do see it and say something, just tell them it was a deliberate mistake. Well, we're getting close to having the blue done. Right, other than that top section, I think I've done with the blue. Got a couple more green bits which I missed. We'll get this leaf done. I'm going to mix some yellowy green. So you can see here, I don't know if you can see it in the video, there's the problem of the dark colours are coming through the light colours, which I just painted over the top. So I've just got to work that now to get it to, you're not going to see it. I've got to come back to that. I'm going to let that dry. So we're going to do the background now. Background, I'm painting it like a sky colour, which is basically going to be white with bits of blue added into it. So I'm just giving that, I'm doing one section at a time, otherwise it's just going to dry off on me. So I'm just painting it white first. And I'm going to get just a pinch of blue. And crosshatch, like figure of 8. Get some more white on my brush. Now I don't want to overdo it. If you overdo it, you're just going to make it a light blue background. And it's always good to have a texture in your background. So doing that crosshatch and not blending it in too much is a nice texture. It's like it's got a blurry background, a blurry sky behind him. He's in focus where the background isn't. Just dabbing some white into that just to break up the spots where it's gone too blue. Right up to the edge. Now this side. And you know, see how quick I'm doing it? There's no detail at all being put into this background. It's not important in the picture. Right, there's the background. We're going to just do that section at the top. I wanted to do the background first so I can flick the paint. The hair follicles coming up over the background. Here's a little trick. Turn your brush upside down, stroke it. It gives it that hair feel. Now I'm going to do the same with the blue. That's his hair. Right. I'm just going to work my way down now with the black, fix up anything else that needs to be done on the way. I'll start with his eyes, put his black eyes in. Well, they're going to have some white in it, but I'm not going to do that yet. Black around his lips. It's got a great consistency with this black paint at the moment. It's flowing very well. Around his ears. Bit too much water in that black paint. Now these black lines, they help the picture pop. As you can see there, that top half is really popping out now compared to how it was a minute ago. You don't want to overdo the black lines. Go around the apple. Stem, I'll have to touch them up in a minute. Creases on his top lip. I just might stick a couple up that side, just a thin line. Right, fix that leaf and the stem. Now get some white on that leaf to make it pop a bit. I'm going to outline that leaf just to help it out. Now all I've got left really is some highlighting with some white. So I'm going to put the whites in his eyes. His nostrils. A bit of white on that apple. Bit of white on that bottom lip, just where the light's hitting. Flicking out some hair. He's got to have more white on his nose there. That's it. I think I can call the zebra done. I hope you enjoyed that. Remember, if you want to get our tracer, go to www.redart.com.au. You can get the tracer, the image, and the copy of this video, plus any other videos that you would like to paint. They're all there. Hope you enjoyed watching this. I'll see you next time.
If you found this video entertaining, helpful or inspiring, we'd love for you to consider subscribing to our channel and hitting that notification bell. Subscribing will ensure that you never miss out on any of our future content that we create, especially for you.